You see, what's happening is that education sector as a sector is starting to get much more highlighted these days. And with the number of schools growing, the number of students who are actually on the growth path both in government and private schools, I think it's absolutely important that the audience or the ecosystem understands what's happening in this world. So conclaves like these are the only ways that they can actually one, know what's happening, number one. Number two, I think it's also very important to have these best practice sessions shared with each other, which can only happen when you have these conclaves and one hears the other person. So meeting of the minds, exchange of thoughts, exchange of ideas can only happen with these conclaves. So I think it's a much needed platform, and I hope it continues. I genuinely believe that that is the only way to go forward. In fact, if you heard the Secretary of Education talk, he mentioned that the public space has got scale. So the number of government schools are almost 100 times the number of private schools in this country. So we're talking more than 1.5 million schools versus about not more than 2 to 3 lakh private schools. So in such a scenario, when the scale is there with the government schools and the efficiencies or the quality of delivery is there with the private institutions, I think it's just natural that the two have to meet in order to bring out the best delivery to the end, the beneficiary, which is the student. So I definitely think this is in the cards, and it has to be a reality very soon. In fact, we already have a lot of PPP models today. Unfortunately, today's PPP models are all restricted to very clear silos of services. So you have the ICT, or the Information Communication and Technology, as a PPP model. You've got vocational training inside schools as a PPP model. You've got building of girls' hostel as a PPP model. But what is really needed is the entire end-to-end servicing of a school, because that's when the child will benefit from a long sustained outcome. And eventually it's all about learning outcomes for the child. So that can only happen if there is a operating and management of the school through a PPP model. School produces children. I mean, eventually if you look at a child's life, the parent is the first teacher, the teacher is really the second teacher. So almost 60 to 70% of his time really goes into a school. And everybody knows that right from the first 7 years of a child's growing up stage to when he passes out of the 12th standard, I think what he acquires and what he needs to acquire is knowledge and exposure. And that can only happen in a good school when the environment and the teachers are contributing to the child's progress. And we all know that a child eventually becomes an adult. And as an adult, you have to become a good citizen to this country. So the entire chain is all connected. So a good school, a good child, a good adult, a good citizen, and therefore a good country. If you talk about smart classes erasing chalk and board, probably. But if you're saying that smart classes alone without teachers being part of the explanation system is going to exist by itself, no, I don't agree with that. Smart classes is an enabler. It just makes the whole delivery mechanism a little more exciting for the child. A child likes to see moving animated items, and therefore when a curriculum or a subject is integrated into a smart class, the end output is more exciting for the child to see or listen to. But the teacher has to definitely be there in order to guide the child's mind and navigate the child's mind in the right manner. So whether it will eliminate chalk and board, maybe, probably, but it will not eliminate a teacher's presence in the classroom. But yeah, the chalk and board might get replaced by a whiteboard and a marker for parallel notes to be taken. So that's what I believe in.